Welcome to Bird Camp Radio, where the coveys rise from the high pines, marsh valleys, sagebrush seas, and the shelf rock ledges. Here at camp, the fire's always glowing, the dogs are never far, and the stories of birds, wild places, and the upland life are just beginning. This is Bird Camp Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to Bird Camp Radio. We're excited to have our next guest, our 10th episode, and our 10th guest here on the Bird Camp Radio podcast. Everyone, we're excited to have Kody King, a Utah uplander, here on the podcast today. Kody sent in his bio earlier, and we would love to read that so you guys can get to know him a little bit better. Kody King grew up in the field where the majority of his focus was on pheasant and duck hunting. As pheasant numbers declined over the years, he expanded his horizons and began traveling across the West and Midwest in pursuit of new upland opportunities. His experience now spans Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Kansas, and North Dakota, each adding to his passion and knowledge of bird hunting. Kody currently runs a Brittany and a Small Münsterländer, two dogs that fuel his love for the uplands and keep him chasing birds across rugged country. While chukar and grouse make up most of his seasons these days, he still finds time each year to mix in quail and the occasional pheasant hunt. He fell in love with bird dogs as a teenager, and that early spark has never faded. Today, Kody continues to build his life around the uplands, the adventure of new terrain, and the dogs that make it all worth it. Kody, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. As we were talking before, me and Kody, we're both from Utah, and it's a little cold here right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cold and windy.
Yep, cold and windy. So it's winter's finally hit, I believe.
Yeah, it took a while getting here, but it's finally here.
So before we get started, for any new listeners or that's already listened to it, as you already know, we play the game Rapid Fire Around the Campfire, where we ask our guest 10 simple questions about upland game hunting. Some of them being personal questions about what they enjoy. So when you're ready, we'll give you these 10 questions. It is timed. And at the end, we do have a leaderboard. So at the end of the podcast, we'll release your time and put you on the leaderboard. So whenever you're ready, we're ready to go.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Favorite wild bird to chase?
Quail.
Most challenging bird?
Chukars.
Favorite dog trait?
A lot of point. I like a lot of point.
Best bird for eating?
Quail.
Go-to field snack?
Beef jerky.
Dream hunting destination?
Oregon.
Favorite month to hunt?
November.
Game bag or vest?
Game bag.
Solo hunt or with a group?
Solo.
Lead or steel shot?
Lead.
All right, there we go. Sweet. So like I said, guys, we'll release his time at the end of the podcast, so don't go far. But now segueing back, we like to focus on each uplander's bio, ask them questions about what got them started, the things that they enjoyed, the dogs that they run, and every aspect of their lives when it comes to it. So kind of getting started here, Kody, starting with the beginning of your bio, you kind of talked about how you got started with your early seasons of hunting pheasants. Do you want to take us back to those times and how you got started with it all?
Yeah, sure. Growing up there in northern Utah, there used to be, as far as Utah standards go, there used to be quite a few wild pheasants up there. And my dad, that was his thing, was hunting pheasants. That's pretty much all he did. He hunted deer and some elk, but pheasants were his favorite. But yeah, I mean, growing up, opening day of the pheasant hunt was a really big deal up there. Uh, it's pretty much all private property, but there was different groups of guys that hunted different areas. And opening day, we had a great big group of guys that would go. Some of my uncles would come up, and it was big, and everyone shot birds. There was gunshots going off everywhere. It was, I guess, it's the good old days, I guess you could say, you know. But as I got older and I started carrying a shotgun, there just wasn't that many pheasants around. So I started hunting a lot of ducks when I was in high school, which is insane to think about now. I can't stand hunting ducks now. But, you know, hunting pheasants you can sleep in, which is kind of nice. And you can stay dry for the most part. But yeah, I mean, my dad always had labs, uh, which we hunted pheasants in the cattails. So labs were pretty good for that. But as we started kind of looking around and branching out, I talked my dad into getting a short hair when I was, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 years old, and he bought it. I don't even know if he paid money for it. If he did, it was like $50. Just got it off the classifieds, and his name was Ace. He was kind of my first dog. It was kind of mine, and yeah, once I got him, he turned out to be an awesome pheasant dog. And once I got him, I just kind of took off, never looked back.
All kind of just went off from there. I completely agree with both of us growing up in northern Utah. I mean, I don't think I was really around for the good population of as you know, at least up here, a lot of our population comes just from farm grown birds and just releasing
Yeah,
birds, which I mean can be fun for us. There's some property that we hunt out in Howell, and kind of like what you were talking about, man, opening day out in Howell. It just sounds like a war zone out there. There's a little walk-in access that's in between, well, right in the middle of all these private property areas that people hunt during that time with their howl tags, and man, it gets absolutely insane. But besides that, I mean, that's kind of where I started to expand out too, is with the pheasant hunt being so short here, and knowing that there's so many other opportunities with other upland game species, it kind of just helped branch out for me. So I
yeah,
definitely
for
get that.
sure. Well, in when I first started hunting, the pheasant hunt was only 2 weeks long. It was 15 days.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And now
So
we're
it was
over a
like,
month.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know how that works. There's less birds, but the season's longer. I don't get how that works. But yeah, it was like you hunted pheasants for 2 weeks and then you were done for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that
And
yeah.
so yeah, I I started getting kind of stir crazy. And like I said, I got tired of getting wet trying to shoot ducks, and that's when I started hunting chukars with one of my buddies. And yeah,
No, that's kinda where I wanted to go with it next. So, with the pheasant populations kinda being impacted over the years, how did that, like, help you get into some of these new species that you've been hunting now for years past?
well, so I really started getting into it when I was, I don't know, probably about 20 years old. And my cousin is a good friend of mine, and he had done a lot of hunting for Huns and Chuckers and shark tails. So he kind of helped me get going, and we uh, we still hunt together now, but we went all over the place looking for Chuckers, looking for Huns and sharp tails, and it's still kind of exciting because I don't know, it all still feels really new. I mean, I've been doing that for 10 years now. I just turned 30, and man, when you start looking into hunting chuckers across Utah and Idaho, uh, there's way more country out there than you could ever cover in a lifetime. I mean, there's always a new place to go. There's always something different to try. And that's what I really like doing. I really like going somewhere that I've never been before and trying to figure out, where the birds are hanging out, where there's no birds, and just kind of going through the whole chess match, trying to, you know, putting pins on onyx, figuring out which ones work, which ones don't. And because of that, that's when me and my cousin started branching out, going to other states, uh, hunting birds that we've never hunted before, things of that nature.
No, that's great to hear. I mean, for for the majority of my life, I've hunted the same areas, and I know I've mentioned this before on some of the podcasts, but just in these past few years, I've been able to branch out to a few different places. I've been able to hunt Utah, Idaho, and one opportunity Nevada, and it's it's been great being able to get to see some new country. And like you said, like between Idaho and Utah, just itself, the amount of public land and just the land to hunt is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of property, a lot of country to go and cover, and being able to put those waypoints on Onyx, figure out, like what you said, what works, what doesn't work, that's half the fun to me, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, it's a blast. And I mean, quail, like living in Utah, there are quail, like I've shot quail around where I grew up, but there's just not that many of them. And when I really started getting into quail, that's when we really started branching out because you kind of have to. If you're going to go on like a good quail hunt, you've got to get out of Utah. I mean, Idaho's got a ton of quail. There's tons of quail in Arizona. We went to Kansas and on Bob White's. Like, because I haven't shot very many quail and it's, still kind of new, it's a blast. I'd hunt quail every day if I could.
See, and I never have. I've always wanted to, but like you said, I honestly have no idea where to hunt here in Utah. And the majority of people that I know, we're hunting chukar, huns, and then grouse most of the time, and of course pheasants when we can. But I
Right.
honestly don't know many people that had the opportunity to go hunt with who have hunted them here in Utah. I'd like to get out to Arizona, hunt them. I didn't realize that Idaho had a good population. I didn't know that.
Yeah. For Idaho, if you're going to hunt quail in Idaho, you've got to get more, like at least to Twin Falls, kind of on that southwest part of the state. I think, I don't know if there is quail in like southeast Idaho, but that part of the state's closed to quail hunting.
Oh, wow.
So you've got to get, you've got to go out there a little ways before you really start getting into them.
No, that's good to know. Um,
But they're there, and like I said, I uh there's quail right there where you are. Uh, I've seen them. I've seen them there probably. Oh, there's not a lot, but I hunt quail in that area every year. They're around, but you've got to have permission on private property.
right, that makes sense. So Tremont City, which is up here in northern Utah. Um, every once in a while, I'll see a few coveys of quail down by the Bear River. Yeah, it was right down by the Bear River in the Malad, where we have our pump houses. Every once in a while, I'll see them, and then there's a few different properties that I've seen them, but yeah, other than that, but that makes sense. I know that they're here. I just haven't gotten out and taken the opportunity to
Yeah,
hunt them.
no, and that's the thing. Like they're there, but it's hard to get permission anymore up there. Luckily, there's a handful of people that uh my dad's really good friends with, and they let us hunt pheasants and quail every year. So we do it every year, but it's if I didn't know them, they wouldn't let me hunt for sure.
Oh
So
yeah,
it gets kind of tricky with things like that. But
it's definitely in who you know up here for sure.
oh, yeah, 100%. But I mean, like Gambel's quail, you can hunt Gambel's quail down in southern Utah, just on BLM ground. I do that just about every year too. And there's probably more birds down there, more quail than there is up here. They're a little bit easier to find. I mean, at that point, it's like you might as well just go to Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close from right there. Just so with that said, I mean, you've hunted all these different states. You talked a little bit about how you branched out to them. How did you end up deciding which ones to go to and actually go hunt? I mean, you got Kansas and North Dakota on there. What kind of led you to go towards those states?
Well, so I made the goal that I was gonna shoot all six different kinds of quail that we have in the lower 48. And I actually started. I was gonna shoot all the upland game birds in Utah, other than the band-tailed pigeon, I guess. And so I did that, and then since I was hunting Idaho so much, I decided, well, I'll just do the same thing in Idaho. So I shot all of the upland birds in Idaho, and then I was kind of getting bored again. So on that list between Utah and Idaho, the only two kinds of quail are gambels and valley quail. So me and my buddy decided we were going to go to Arizona and take the Mearns quail and scaled quail off the list. And I think we talked about doing that for probably about 3 years. So we had a lot of time to research it, go over maps, figure out what part of the state we were going to put about, I don't know, I swear like 500 pins on my Onyx of different places to go. And yeah, I mean, the thing about it is at some point you just got to go do it. And we went down there. We did okay in Arizona. I mean, we shot all three quail, gambels, mertens, and scaled quail over the course of about 4 or 5 days. I mean, we didn't shoot limits every day, but we did good. We did what we set out for. And after that, we decided to hunt bob whites. And so we picked Kansas. And same thing, spent about 2 years researching where to go, what part of the state. And yeah, we went to Kansas, shot some bob whites. That was pretty fun. Uh, North Dakota, my brother lives in North Dakota, so it was pretty easy to hunt that. I just went up and visited him and spent a few days hunting pheasants and geese. So that one was pretty simple. I didn't have to do much for that.
No, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, so the only one I've got left is mountain quail, and that's what I want to go to Oregon for.
Well, we have had a few people on the podcast from Oregon. Maybe we could get you hooked up.
Oh, dude, I listened to that podcast with
Tanner Cruisen?
yeah, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, man. He's awesome. Like his stories, I'm like, dude, we're gonna have to have you on the podcast again because he's like, I only told you just a sliver of what I have. We stayed after the podcast and talked for like another half an hour about more stories, and I'm like, wow, man, I got to get up there and go and hunt. But
Oh yeah, it sounds amazing. Oh, it sounds cool.
yeah, yeah, I bet he would definitely be willing, possibly, or know somebody who could help you get out there and do it. I know we've had a lot of Oregon uplanders want to join the podcast, which has been absolutely amazing. We have a few more coming on here in the future, so we're excited for that. So, I just got a quick question. So, with hunting all these different states, do you have one that was the most challenging for you, or any bird that was most challenging?
I would say hunting bobwhites in Kansas was hard for me, and probably hunting scaled quail in Arizona were probably the two hardest. Oh, and spruce grouse in Idaho. Those three were rough. Uh, the thing about it, I'd never been to Kansas before. I'm you go from Utah into Kansas, and it kind of feels like you're a fish out of water. Uh, kind of uncomfortable. I just wasn't really used to the terrain, and it took us. I mean, we did get lucky. We got into like two coveys of quail on our first walk, but it was hard to kind of figure out where the birds were and why they were there, where you could find them with some consistency, just because never been there before. But the scaled quail in Arizona, man, I like pheasants run, but scaled quail are in like another world. I swear. The first ones that I actually laid eyes on ran across the road while we were driving down this little dirt road. And so me and my buddies were like, well, we'll just jump out and shoot them like they're right here. We're on public ground. And we got out and started walking through the brush and we never saw those birds again. I don't know where they went.
Really?
Yeah. They just disappeared.
Just absolutely disappeared. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was nuts. And oh, about it was probably half hour after that, we saw another cubby running through the brush. So we dumped some dogs out and went after them. And they kind of jumped and flew to the edge of this great big wash, but they didn't go very far. I mean, it was less than 100 yards where they landed. And so I wasn't really worried about it. And man, we got up there and we found a couple of birds, but it was nuts, man. They were running and hiding just like a rooster pheasant would. I mean, there was little tiny like washout spots in the side of the this big drainage, and they were basically just cracks in the ground. So probably like 10 inches wide and like 6 or 8 inches deep. And we're standing there looking around, and it's like, man, these birds were right here, and we couldn't find them. And you could hear them. I don't know. They were making some kind of like a little, I don't know, like a cluck sound, I guess. Dude, they were down inside of those cracks. Like four or five of them were inside of those cracks, running down into the wash.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was nuts. I've never seen anything like it.
I can
And
see that being challenging.
yeah, it was crazy. And I mean, it was a blast, but they were they were kind of tough. And the spruce grouse and Idaho were just hard to find. Same kind of deal. I mean, you've got tons of habitat, and it's just trying to. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, kind of. Just took a long time to actually find some. But once you find them, those birds are pretty easy to shoot. They're not the most sporty birds out there.
So when you were hunting in Arizona, those quail, you had bird dogs, right?
Yeah, we did. We did. We when we were driving down the road, we were just kind of looking around, scouting, kind of checking out some of the onyx pins, and it just so happened we saw some birds on the road.
So was it kind of difficult for the dogs going from all these different species to hunting in a terrain like that? Does it kind of throw them off at all, or they just pretty constant?
Not really. I mean, my Brittany, uh, he's I think 6 years old, and he's pretty used to going to new places. It doesn't really seem to affect him at all. I've seen dogs in the past where, like for example, that first short hair I had that I only hunted pheasants with, that dog wouldn't point quail at all. He wouldn't even acknowledge that they were there because my parents had quail in their backyard. So to him, they were, I don't know, just yard birds. He never really paid any attention to them. But no, my Brittany doesn't really seem to care. He kind of just points whatever's in front of him.
No, that's always a good thing. Just constant.
Yeah, he's pretty good about it.
So, and that, I mean, I already kind of brought up the dogs a little bit. I mean, if there's one thing that ties all of us uplanders together, it's the dogs. And of course, you got a deep passion starting young with your dogs. Let's kind of dive into that, the breeds that you've been able to hunt with, and what you've come to enjoy when it comes to up and game hunting.
Yeah, so I've had short hairs. I've had labs. Uh, I've got a Brittany now and then a small Münsterländer, and all the dogs that I've had seem to kind of have their strengths. Uh, I don't know if I would say one's necessarily better than the other. And there's good dogs in all of them. I've hunted with. Uh, I have a buddy that's got draughts. I have same buddy has a setter, and they all any dog can be a good dog. But I mean, if you're hunting chuckers, I don't know if a lab is necessarily the best tool for the job, you know. But I don't know. I got the Brittany because I got a short hair right when I first got married, and he was a bit of a deviant. I don't know. I think he was on cocaine or something. 'Cause he had a lot of fur drive, and he would chase anything, rabbits, deer. I lost him because he was chasing elk one time when I was grouse hunting. Uh, but at the time when I had that dog, I didn't have a GPS collar. Uh, I just had like a regular old chalk collar, e-collar, whatever you want to call it. And the short hair that I had previous, I never had an issue with. Just hunting pheasants with him, he was always within about 100 yards, and I kind of always knew where he was. So I never really thought about it. And then I hit this short hair, and he's just wild as all get out. And he would disappear, and I'd lose him for hours. Wouldn't know where he was. And I just have to kind of sit there and wait for him to come back to me. And it was kind of a pain. But yeah, that dog, his name was Rudy. My wife loved him, but uh, I couldn't take him pheasant hunting because he would find raccoons and he'd get in fights with raccoons all the time. And he actually caught a deer one time, and I had to pull him off of it. That was a fiasco. But having that dog, that's when I switched to a Brittany because was kind of looking for something that didn't have as much drive to just kill everything that it saw. And Brittany's are great, man. I think I'll have Brittany's the rest of my life. They're pretty easy going. Uh, really good dogs around the house. They're great.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, um, Tanner Cruisen, he runs Brittany's and he absolutely loves them. I know we've had several people who have come onto the podcast, and many of them have great rating when it comes to Brittany's. Me personally, I haven't had any opportunities to hunt behind them. Hopefully, at some point, I can, but we'll see. For me personally, especially in this area with the Bear River Bird Refuge, my dad grew up waterfowling and then upland, all of it together. So I grew up behind Labradors my whole life, and then had my opportunities to hunt behind setters and uh, short hairs. But besides that, yeah, that's that's all I've gotten to hunt behind. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, short hairs are really common. Seems like short hairs and draughts are really common in Utah, which they're great. There's nothing like if someone came up and said, "What dog should I get to hunt upland?" I'd probably tell them a short hair because it's hard to go wrong with. You know, they kind of do everything. They usually have a lot of prey drive, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. But yeah, Brittany's are just, I don't know, a little bit more easygoing, I guess.
Solid all the way around. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah.
Now with the small Munsterlander, so I've never actually heard of this breed, and this is the first time we've had it on the podcast. Explain I How did you get into that? Because I never even heard of it.
Yeah, they're not real common. I kind of got into it by accident. Uh, there's a guy that lives here in Heber that has a couple of small Munsterlanders. And when I moved here and he found out I was a bird hunter. He would not leave me alone about these small Münsterländers. He kept telling me how great they were. And basically, they point the bird, shoot it for you, clean it and cook it and serve it on a plate for you. And you didn't have to do nothing, is basically how he described it. I've never hunted with one. The only one I'd seen is the ones that this guy had. And after, yeah, about 3, 4 years of him talking him up, he had a litter of puppies, and one just kind of fell into my lap. But the one I've got now, his name's Bronco. He's, I don't know, let's see, he's about 2.5 years old. And he's pretty, there. I don't know, I can't speak for the whole breed. He's kind of the only one that I have any experience with, but he's pretty calm, uh, really easy going, and he's got a lot of point to him. He's kind of really came on this season. I've had him out hunting chukars quite a bit this year. He's pointed quite a few coveys of chukars for me. I've had him on pheasants and quail this year. He's done pretty well with that. Uh, he's not a big ranging dog. Like he's within about, I'd say max, he goes about 75 yards away from me, which doesn't really bother me. I don't think that they're really meant to be a big ranging dog, but I like him. He's a great dog to have around the house. He's really good with my kids. He just kind of hangs out in the yard with me when I'm home all day. Pretty cool little dogs, man.
No, that's cool. Anybody who listens to the podcast, let us know if you've hunted behind them or know anybody does, because I'd like to get to know them a little bit more. Right now, we're in the market hopefully here soon if we get a place of our own. And like I said, I've hunted behind Labradors my whole life, but I'm definitely open to anything. Right now, I'm kind of just wanting to experiment and figure out what I like. so
Yeah,
so I'm always open to hear what people are running and what's working for them and what's not, and that's cool because that's a new breed for me. So keep that in the back of my mind.
yeah, they're a blast. Not like I think if a guy was just to hunt pheasants, I think a small monster line would be really good for that.
Good advice for everybody to know. Um, with that, um, some of the questions that I like to ask on here. I mean, with you being ranged in your bird dogs, what's your biggest advice for guys who are running dogs, or maybe people who are new to the to upland game when it comes to picking out a dog or traits? Is there any advice that you'd give somebody? Um, your best bird dog advice.
As far as like picking a puppy, I don't really know if there is an exact science to that. I think you just kind of, everyone has their little tricks, but I don't know if there's anything to that. I think it's still just kind of a 50-50, you know. But I don't know. The biggest thing with bird dogs, man, is you have to expose them to birds and expose them to the hunting environment. Uh, I mean, really, I uh, I like Ronnie Smith a lot, and I've read Ronnie Smith's book about training pointing dogs, and what he says in his book is your dog has basically everything is boiled down to three things. Your dog has to come with you, or come to you, go with you, and stand still. And everything that you train a dog falls under one of those three categories. And any one of those pointing breeds can do those three things. And I mean, if you can expose them to birds and get them used to gunfire, uh, I don't think you can go wrong.
What was the book? What was the name of that book again?
I think it's called Training Pointing Dogs,
Training
if I'm
Pointing
not
Dogs
mistaken.
by Ronnie Smith.
Book. Yeah, it's a really good book.
Okay, that's one that I'll have to look into and for anybody who's looking for the advice or new into it or just looking to better themselves, I mean, there you go, and that's great. Um, Kinda just wrapping this up, this has been great to have you on, Cody. You've hunted many areas with many different dogs. Just kinda going back to the upland birds again, um, which ones would you find to be your most favorite to hunt, here in Utah? Any advice for anybody who's hunting in the area?
I would say probably my two favorites, aside from quail, if we're just talking Utah, I would say probably chukar and blue grouse are probably my favorite. Uh, there's just a lot of opportunity. There's tons of public land to hunt them on. Uh, Utah's got pretty good populations of both those birds, and anybody can go out there and go onto a piece of BLM ground and look for chukar or go up into the national forest and look for blue grouse. They're really accessible and they're tons of fun. Uh, I, growing up when I was in high school, we actually didn't hunt grouse with dogs. You basically shot grouse when you were elk hunting and just happened to see one. And putting a dog on the ground, hunting blue grouse just totally changes the whole dynamic. They're they can be kind of jumpy. It's really similar to hunting sharp tails. That's kind of the way they act. They can be kind of jumpy. They don't take pressure from the dog very well. You got to have a good steady dog for them, just like sharp tails. And it can be really hard to shoot them when they're going through the quakies and pine trees. They're a really sporty bird. And chuckers are chuckers. I mean, they're a blast. I mean, same deal. I mean, chuckers, you got to have a good steady dog. Uh, I seem to get uh, my best dog work out of my Brittany on chuckers. It seems to be his favorite to hunt, and there's tons of places to go. So I would say those two are probably my favorite.
I completely agree, and like you said, both of those birds are very sporty. Um, I think in my time hunting bluegrass, I've probably taken more pine trees than I have birds.
Ain't that, ain't that the truth?
Oh man, the branches that I've destroyed. Oh man, especially this year for some reason. It's been a difficult year for us this year. No, that's great. With that, you've been able to have a lot of experiences out there. Is there anything that you're looking forward to this upcoming year? I mean, we're getting late into a lot of the seasons now, but is there any hunts that you're looking forward to here in the future?
Um, Probably not. Not anything crazy this season. Uh, Probably just hunt more chuckers. I'll probably get in a couple of quail hunts before the season's over here in Utah, but that's pretty much it. I did spend a few days in Idaho this year hunting with my dad. Just like a long weekend, and that was kind of my hunt for the year. Uh, Pretty good. I mean, we shot sharp-tails, pheasants, huns, and chukars up there, so that was pretty good. But nothing crazy.
No, that's the same thing with us, and I can't complain with a day like that, taking that many birds and different varieties. Those are always fun days when you can get a mixed bag.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of what we're looking forward to. I mean, mostly kind of going back into chucker season now, kind of hit that full throttle and see where it goes. Finish out the grouse season and pheasant season and call it a wrap on the year, it looks like. So
Yeah.
nothing too crazy either.
Do you still hunt grouse this late in the year?
I mean, we try to hunt them. We went out this past weekend and didn't see a single thing. I don't think we were high enough, honestly. We ran into some chukar, but when it came to grouse, it's kind of been slim to none lately. It's kind of just catch them as they come.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it was a real good year for grouse, but I don't know, maybe that was just me.
No, we had the DWR biologist on just a few episodes ago,
Oh,
and she was explaining that it's been a difficult season, and hopefully they can bounce back this coming season. I mean, last season was absolutely great here in Utah. This season, I mean, it's been, I'd say, moderate, and they're hoping for a good comeback this coming year, but I guess we'll see what ends up happening. I guess really with our snowfall.
yeah. I mean, are they saying that because we've had, we had that really bad winter in 2020, what was that, 2022, and then just kind of like a couple of not like not horrible winters, but kind of rough ones. Is that what they're saying is causing the birds to go down?
She was more explaining that just this dry season, this past snowfall, we didn't have much of it, so just water was more of an issue, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but I honestly don't know. We didn't get into that too much, but from what she was explaining, I mean, just the water just kind of being sparse for them. So hopefully it helps them out this coming year. Hopefully we get a good snowpack and bring back some
Yeah.
populations. It's not bad, but definitely last year was a lot better from what we've heard and what we've been able to hunt.
Well, last year was kind of hard to beat. Uh, Last year is probably the most birds I've ever seen between Utah and Idaho. So yeah, it's kind of, I guess it's not fair to compare everything to last year.
That's true. I mean, everything was good last year,
Oh yeah, everything was good.
and hopefully we can get back to that here soon. It's kind of hard to compare last year to now here in Utah and Idaho because it was a blast.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, chuckers seem to be about average this year. Like on a normal year, seems like it's about average, but I don't know. Huns in Idaho seem to have gone way down, and I don't know why. I don't really know what the difference is between Huns and chuckers, but like there was places me and my buddy hunted last year. I remember we made one walk and we shot. I think we walked out of there with 12 Huns and like 5 or 6 chuckers and like 4 sharp tails. And we went back there this year and I think we saw one bunch of Huns, like 6 birds is all.
Really.
And if yeah, and I don't know. I mean, last year we were seeing like, I mean, it seemed like last year if you were hunting Huns, if you weren't seeing, you know, 8 or 10 cubbies in a day, you were doing something wrong. And now it's like you're lucky to find 2 or 3 in a day, and they're usually not very big cubbies. I don't know what I don't know what happened, but something happened.
We've actually been talking to some of the wildlife agencies throughout the western states to see if we can get them on. Hopefully, we can get Idaho on, and maybe that's something that we can discuss a little bit, kinda get their point of view on it.
Yeah, ask him what the heck happened.
See what happened, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah. Figure it out and fix it, please.
That's for sure. No, this has been great, man. We've absolutely enjoyed having you on. I just have one last question, and for the listeners, you already know that I ask this question for every uplander. Is there any advice that you would give to an uplander or maybe a new uplander who's getting into the upland game tradition? Any words of wisdom from you?
I would say don't be afraid to fail. What I mean by that is don't be scared to go somewhere just because you've never been there before. It seems like a lot of people I talk to, they'll ask me about hunting chukars, and they're just like, "Oh, well, I just don't know where to go." And it's like, "Well, where have you been?" And they're like, "Well, I haven't been anywhere." It's like, "Well, that's probably why you're not finding any chukars." You know, people just need to be willing to go out and walk and be okay if you don't find anything.
I think that's great advice. I've been able to put that in practice over the past few years, and honestly, guys, that's great advice coming from somebody who's been doing it his whole life. Get out there, explore, have a little bit of fun, enjoy it with others. We have so much public land here in Utah, and we might as well enjoy it. And I mean, most of these western states, we have a lot of public land that we can go and play on and adventure on. So get out there and use it. We're the stewards of it. We're the ones paying for it, so we might as well use it.
That's right. That's right. And you just can't kill them from the couch, you know?
That's right. Even a bad day beats sitting on a couch all day, in my opinion.
That's exactly right.
No, this has been a great episode. Thank you again, Kody, for coming on and joining us on the podcast and being willing to share your stories and some of your advice to our listeners. We've really appreciated your time.
Yeah, no problem, man. That was a good time.
Thank you again, everyone, for listening to our episode 10 of Bird Camp Radio with Kody King. Before you leave, we do need to release Kody's time, the rapid fire around the campfire game. Kody, your time was 49.99 seconds, which puts you in 7th place, right above Robbie Mulligan in 8th now. Our leaderboard still remains at the top 3 with Tanner Cruson in 1st at 35.52 seconds, Jimmy Humes in 2nd at 35.91, and then Eli Howard 36.01 seconds. And as you know, you can reach out to us on our social media platforms and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Bird Camp Radio Podcast. And as well, if you want to listen or you have anybody that wants to listen to the podcast, you can listen on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And also do not forget that we do have our merchandise store that is open. You can find the links to the merchandise store or the Bird Camp Radio store on our social media platforms. So reach out, give us some love, and we'd love to hear from each one of you. Thank you again for listening. You've been listening to Bird Camp Radio, where the high pines, marsh valleys, sagebrush seas, and shelf rock ledges always call us back. Until next time, keep your dogs close, your shot true, and your campfire stories ready to share. We'll see you back at camp. Don't miss out on the next episode, where we'll host our next guest on the podcast. You don't want to miss this one. Thank you.